it's pretty safe to say. God give it, God take it away. It's the worldwide American way.
What's going on, Team Proof here, and today is the final recruit report for spikes coming from set 13. And the card I have today is Mecha Instructor, which is a stand trigger for us coming out the set. And his ability is Charge, so we know what that does. And Auto Generation Break 1, choose a card from your hand and put it into your soul. When this unit is put into your deck from rearguard circle, you may pay the cost. If you do, choose one of your rearguards, bind it face up, and call the bound card to an open rearguard circle. So, unfortunately, it's another stand trigger for Spike Brothers, which is weird in and of itself. Excuse me. And at the same time, it will be fighting with Double Watch for deck space, because for spikes, we don't want to use stand triggers. And during the times when we've had to use stand triggers, which in the case of Double Watch, we were kind of shoehorned into it. It needed to be a really good, worthwhile skill to be utilized in that spot, because every stand trigger we have is effectively a -1 on our trigger count, because we would much rather use more crits and more draw triggers, just something that can be more overall effective. Because usually we don't want to call out units early game because we need those as combo pieces, and all our strides aren't usable or aren't as usable with stand triggers minus Miracle Ace, because he can call them out and continue his chain that way. And even in the context of other decks outside the Charge deck, they don't really want to use stand triggers either for the same reason. So the skill that Mecha Instructor has here, in my opinion, doesn't stack up enough to warrant use outside of using Double Watch. But that doesn't say it's a useless ability, if that makes sense. It's just not good enough to warrant it. But what it can do is it combos well with Prompt Cheetah, because Prompt Cheetah, as we talked about before, after it attacks after charging, you can Soul Blast 1 and bind it and call it back as rested. After that, you go with your Mecha Instructor column. The Instructor goes back to the deck. You can bind and recall your Cheetah again. Unfortunately, that also costs you a card out of your hand. I don't know why it costs a card out of your hand, especially when Mecha Analyzer, the starter, is free of that. You just have to shove it into your soul, which in my opinion, it would have been fair if it returned back to the deck. You can bind and recall a card, but the fact that it also costs your card out of your hand when we already have the likes of Great Star, Rise and Nova Stride skill, having to fulfill the 3 bind for Agrius, needing to call one for Bruggert, Hive Maker. There's so many other cards that already pull from our hand that, to me, this is dipping one too many times into that same bucket, which is also another reason why I don't think it's going to be used as much. And there's also the interaction where you can attack with a charge and column, like a charge unit and then him behind it. And then at the end of the battle, both of the charge abilities go on to standby. You resolve the charge ability of Instructor here, put him back to the deck, and before you choose to resolve the rearguard that attacked in front of it, you can use his ability to bind it and call it back again. So that's another interaction there. Just, of course, it costs you a card out of your hand. So, for example, if you have a Picaro turn, you can set up the likes of like a Dobe, an Instructor, and an Instructor, and then you have 4 Dobe attacks incoming at the cost of 2 cards out of your hand, because you attack with the Dobe and then use the charge interaction I just told you about, put them back, bind the Dobe and call it back, and then you attack again with the Dobe for 21,000, and then you do it with the other side as well. So that's a nice little cool, fun way to use it. I just don't know if it's going to be enough in the competitive scheme of things to warrant its use, but it does have its own fun applications. So my verdict overall is that it's a interesting card, but it's not good enough to take the place of the limited stand space we already have in the context of our decks, because we would rather use it on Double Watch just for that counter charge, soul charge that it grants. So yeah, that'll do it for Mecha Instructor here. That'll do it for me. That brings a wrap to all our recruit reports. So if you want to check them all back out again, check out the playlist down below or wherever it might be. And yeah, that'll do it for me. And until next time, peace. Be easy.